All right, so I want to look at part three of this. This asks us to find the first four non-zero terms of the Maclaurin series for e to the x. You'll see, just to save a little bit of time here in the video, hopefully that's one you've memorized. I've got all those terms listed right here, and you can see those. Pretty basic series. You need to know that series. Okay, it asks me to use that Maclaurin series to write the third degree Taylor polynomial for g. They define this g function, which is the e to the x function multiplied by f of x. All right, and so what we're really doing here is we're taking that original f function, which we have right here, okay, and it's got infinitely many terms. And I think there's a tendency for people to decide that, well, if I'm going to multiply these two series together and they have infinitely many terms, how am I supposed to do that? But there's a really important key here that you had to notice, and that is they ask you to find the third degree Taylor polynomial. In other words, you're only finding a third degree function. Okay, so any term that's higher than a third degree just doesn't matter. You're wasting your time. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is basically just FOIL, except extended to more terms. Each term in the first series needs to be multiplied by each term in the second series. So x is going to be multiplied by each of these terms over on the right-hand side. Okay, x times 1 is going to give me x. X times x is going to give me x squared. Okay, x times x squared over 2 factorial is going to give me x cubed over 2 factorial, which is really just 2. Okay, and I don't even need to multiply by the x cubed term because it's going to give me something to the fourth power. So I'm now done with this. I'll now take this x squared term and I'll multiply it by 1. Okay, so we're starting with this guy here. And we'll multiply it by each of the terms on the right-hand side. So negative 3 halves x squared times 1 is going to be negative 3 halves x squared. All right. Negative 3 halves x squared times x is going to be negative 3 halves x cubed. And you'll notice I like to line my like terms up. And then we don't need to multiply it by the next term because it would give us a power that's too big. So we're done with this one. Okay, 3x cubed can only be multiplied by the 1 to give us an additional, I guess we're going to have an additional x cubed term there. And then we just need to simplify all of this. So what do we end up having here? Well, we have a single x term. Okay, if we look at our x squared terms, we have a minus, sorry, that's supposed to be a plus x squared there. A plus x squared minus a 3 halves x squared. That's going to be a minus 1/2 x squared. Okay, and now we just need our x cubed term. We got a bunch of stuff going on over here. We got a 1/2 x cubed and a negative 1/2 x cubed. That's a negative 1. And then we're adding 3, and that's going to be plus 2 x cubed. And anyway, that's going to complete our series. That's all you need to get to the third power. Now, they could ask you to, estimate g of 1 or something like that, and you could substitute it in for that series. But anyway, in this particular question, that's all they ask us to do. So another one of those questions that looks like it's terrible, but if you just kind of follow along the steps they talk about in these problems, I think it doesn't turn out to be all that bad.